Well, hello class, and welcome to Public Human Resource Management. That's PADM 5378. I am your instructor, Timothy Dolan. And to kick things off, I'm going to go through the course syllabus. So this might be a good time to pause to perhaps print out a copy of the syllabus if you don't have a copy available already. And we'll just get right into it. There is a textbook for this course. It is the Berman, Bowman, West, and Van Wert Human Resource Management and Public Service. And it looks like this if you haven't purchased it already. I urge you to do so. I am not one usually to use textbooks. I don't teach out of the book. But in this instance, we are going to be drawing some material from it. And you'll see as we proceed, there are some assignments that require referring to the book. So just please read along. I'll just go through the course description in the syllabus. So knowing how to manage people in a public agency is among the most intricate and demanding skill sets found in the field of public administration. There are a myriad of rules governing every aspect of employment, from developing job descriptions and screening procedures to separation protocols and everything in between. The course will focus on broad themes in HRM, Human Resource Management, first-hand experience with some evaluative instruments, as well as an anticipatory perspective as to where futures development in the field may lead. This is part of my overall approach to teaching, in that I try to anticipate and prepare participants for the world that you're going to live in. So, we'll go into it. Again, please read along. Among the themes that will be covered are recruitment and selection of candidates, employee training and professional development, dealing with workplace conflict, sexual harassment, and hostile work environments, performance evaluation, and working in periods of budget cutbacks and retrenchment. A point of special emphasis in this course will be on screening for new hires. We'll explore this topic in part by using a Myers-Briggs type assessment instrument, as well as an emotional competence inventory, ECI. We have a better idea of how employment screening for specific types of work can be assisted by these kinds of instruments. By the completion of this course, you will understand the distinctive elements of public HR management. You'll know the basic do's and don'ts of hiring practices, have exposure to how government job announcements are designed, get experience in developing evaluation instruments for applicant eligibility, grasp the importance of developing effective conflict management procedures, be aware of basic definitions of sexual harassment and hostile workplace environments and ways to address these issues, appreciate the benefits of professional development and workplace training opportunities, gain exposure to how an understanding of emotional intelligence can be applied to workplace effectiveness, and finally apply the concept of emotional labor to public service. Now on to the course design. This course will feature the following assessment points with the following proportional weights. So there will be a problem-solving exercise. This exercise will constitute 10% of the overall grade. A midterm examination, which will comprise 20% of overall grade. And then a series of 1,000-word essays. 5 of the 6 will be included in your overall score. 3 of these essays will be on readings, and 3 will be on lecture materials. Again, I choose the best 5 out of 6. Collectively, these are 50% of your grade. And then we do have 2 quizzes. I take the best one of the 2, and that comprises 10% of your grade. And finally, there is a presentation on a common public human resource management challenge. Again, 10% of your grade will be comprised of that exercise. Grades are determined by using a relative performance criteria. And I provided you with this formula. Take note, there is a mistake in the formula, and I'll point that out. G, meaning your grade, is determined by the sum of your individual performance through the course on each of those elements that we've reviewed, divided by the sum of the best performance, and then times 100. So in the copy, in the syllabus, you see a sum of IP times sum of BP. That should be a sum of LP divided by slash sum of BP. So little error there. And again, the terms are defined here. I won't go over them again. Simply put, one's final grade will be a percentage proportion of the best performer. If one is the best performer, then that score will come to be 100. If you figure the math, it makes perfect sense. Now, if one performs at 85% of the best performer, well, that score would then be an 85. That would be considered a B. Please exercise caution. I can't emphasize this enough. When referencing the course gradebook to try to estimate your grades, there are 2 reasons why this will be misleading. One is that you don't know how others in the course are really performing. That's very much a black box. I can tell you from long experience that nobody aces all of my stuff. So the idea that you are trying to base your or speculate on your grade by setting the standard at 100 is going to be misleading. People don't usually perform at that high a level. And you don't know what that'll be at the end. Nobody does. You have to complete all the elements before you have an idea. The second reason is related to the first, in that scores do tend to appear lower than they actually are. As I said, nobody's acing everything, so if you look at what you think might be let's say an 8 out of 10, conceivably that's as good as anybody did in that particular element. Again, we just don't know at this point. So just be a little careful of that. That said, if you're clearly missing a lot, if your scores are clearly low, if you're, say, performing and getting only 50, 60, 65% of what the available points available are, then yeah, maybe there's a problem. Maybe you should see me and do that earlier than later, so that I can either assure you you're on track or diagnose what the issue is and suggest some remedies. By and large, the remedies are pretty self-evident. Do the readings, read the question before you answer it, things like that. I only say that half facetiously. I can't tell you the number of people who have messed up by not interpreting the readings correctly or not reading the questions on a quiz or an exam correctly. And I'm not trying to be tricky about that. These are straightforward questions, but for whatever reason people sometimes misinterpret, so be careful. So let's go into, again, those individual elements. There is the problem-solving exercise. That's going to be done on the second week of the course. And it deals with kind of a series of personnel performance evaluation exercises. Okay? There are no strict right or wrong answers for this exercise. You will be evaluated on demonstrating a best management pathway, whatever that is. So that's one of our early evaluation points. The midterm examination will be done in the fourth week of the course. That's essentially the halfway point, hence the midterm. We'll be covering readings and lecture materials covered to that point. The exam design will be focused on short responses and multiple choice answers. You will not be doing essays. You're already doing essays as part of your overall coursework. You will be subjected to more of that within the exam. A study guide will be provided a week before the actual exam. And that will be posted for you. Note that the exam itself will be posted only for the designated exam day. It'll be up for roughly 24 hours. You will be turning in your responses within that 24-hour period. Course materials will be dark on that day, so you will just have to work on whatever you prepared for in advance of that exam prior to that day. There will be no makeup exams except under extraordinary circumstances. And by extraordinary circumstances, I mean a life event, a birth, a death, a separation, a divorce, that might qualify. Okay. I need prior notice if there's anything that you are aware of that is going to disrupt your ability to do that exam. Essays will be done on weeks 1, 2, and 3, and weeks 5, 6, and 7. There are 6. They should describe basic topics in public HR management that are drawn from lecture materials or from the various book chapters that are assigned. And other readings, by the way, I will be posting other readings, including video, and you can actually, I consider a video presentation that I post to be a reading, so you can do an essay based upon a video presentation within the course. A key to an effective essay is to describe a concept, give at least one detailed example that illustrates that concept in application, or if you see an exception to the rule, you can cite that. Conclude with an elevated discussion of the concept in a kind of a summary. So one way to understand these essays is to think about it in the image of a spiral. You start out with a specific concept, you develop that concept with an example, and then you kind of spiral back to the starting point, but you're at a higher level to give an elaborated summary of that concept. So, you could start, and I do offer this option, you could start with a conceptual premise connected to an example, but one that goes to the deep structure and part of the foundation of that premise behind the initial concept. So you can kind of get into the deep stratas, like what I call the archaeological excavation method. That's fine. It's a challenge. It's difficult to do well, but it can be rewarding. And if you're inclined to go that way, go right ahead. Quizzes will be done on weeks 1 and 7. They are essentially intended to confirm a grasp of key concepts introduced at the outset of the course and to recap subsequent materials presented over the balance of the course. As with the midterm exam, I will provide a study guide. And that will be provided again at the beginning of the first week and the 7th week respectively. So you can start to dig into that sooner than later, particularly of course here in week 1 of the course. You'll see that study guide posted shortly. Presentations are going to be done via YouTube site created specifically for this course. I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to require you to have some sort of camera recording device through which you can then post your presentation. If it's down to just using an iPhone, so be it. You can do a voiceover PowerPoint presentation, or you could do kind of a standalone talking head without any visual aids if you desire. It's your call. But that's the way you're going to be performing your presentations. This is important because one of the key competencies in public administration is the ability to articulate orally to groups of people. Now in this case, you're doing it through a camera. You don't have an audience in front of you per se, but you get the idea. It's a way of helping to provide you with the opportunity to develop those presentational skills that really are important in the field. No formal final exam for this course. 2 culminating assignments, quiz 2 and the presentation, might be considered a final. If you're wanting to call something a final, call those 2 things a final. If you score well on the first quiz, you get a reward. You don't have to do the second quiz. It's your call. Now the rest of the course syllabus I'm going to leave to you to review. The course schedule is in the subsequent pages, as is a kind of a boilerplate rundown of the policies that are part of the School of Arts and Sciences. You'll see this pretty much on every course syllabus that you get from this program. We are required to provide it. Pay close attention to it because in case you don't know, rules concerning plagiarism and those kinds of elements are strict. We do pay attention to them, and you're expected to know them going in, hence they're part of the course syllabus. If you have any questions, of course, contact me. I'd be happy to answer them. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your taking the effort and the investment in taking this course. It's a core requirement, of course, for our public administration MPA. But again, welcome, and I look forward to working with you.